owing, stability owing. You have your two eyes to see what's done in this country.
What you take me for? What you take me for?
Look how much roads done, new hospital and stadium.
What you take me for? What you take me for?
Cruise ship and port expansion is just a few to mention.
What you take me for? What you take me for?
So now we call NNP answer. So vote for the NNP. For peace and stability. Vote for the NNP. For love and tranquility. Vote for the NNP. Oi, stability. Oi. When we remove income tax, they say kid cannot do that.
What you take me for? What you take me for?
No today because of that, the green agents have more cash.
What you take me for? What you take me for?
You get your full salary, you could invest all your money.
What you take me for? What you take me for?
So when we call NNP answer, so vote for the NNP. For peace and stability, vote for the NNP. For love and tranquility, vote for the NNP. Oi, stability, oi.
What you take me for? 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 What you take me for?
So when we call NNP answer, so vote for the NNP. For peace and stability, vote for the NNP. For love and tranquility, vote for the NNP. Oi, stability. Oi. Madman single there. Calling son and here on them out and me, talking about my pride and integrity. It's tried it for ball and I put it back, but they want me disqualified for that. I went on radio, I went on TV, and I gave this nation a public apology. Why don't you check some artist history? You have a lot of them who do worse things than me. They never pay no penalty. I never shove my hand below children's dress. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to rob lick a children's chest. Oh no, oh no. I never found no school children a trap. Oh no, oh no. Halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never licked myself with no drug baron. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to hold up no gas station. Oh no. And when him never calling the killing of any man, so leave Zingo alone. Lose me! Ah! Original Madman Zingo there! Who tell him? Brother. Soca artists here, they say ban me too. So talking about Zingo does fly legal. I wonder why those guys will give me a chance to fly legal, who is a very high science. Mano, just because I beat them in this me, they do and say all those things to discredit me. But Casey, tell me what is the problem? They singing before me and I winning come before them. So listen this story. I never shove my hand below children's dress. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to rob like a children's chest. Oh no, oh no. I never found no school children a trap. Oh no, oh no. And halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never linked myself with no drug baron. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to hold up no gas station. Oh no, oh no. I mean them never calling the killing of any man. Lose me! Ah! Original Madman Zingo there. Calling son and here on them out and me, talking about my pride and integrity. It's tried it for ball and I put it back, but they want me disqualified for that. I went on radio, I went on TV, and I gave this nation a public apology. Why don't you check some artist history? You have a lot of them who do worse things than me. They never pay no penalty. I never shove me hand below children dress. Oh no, oh no. I never try to rob little children chest. Oh no, oh no. I never found no school children a job. Oh no, oh no. Halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never licked myself with no jug baran. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to hold up no gas station. Oh no, oh no. And when him never calling the killing of any man. So leave Zingo alone. Lose me. Ah! Original madman Zingo there. Who tell them? Brother. Soca artists here they say ban me too. Stop talking about Zingo does fly legal rule. I wonder why those guys will give me a chance to fly legal who is a very high science. Ask Mano. Just because I beat them in this ME. They do and say all those things to discredit me. But guess you tell me what is the problem? They singing before me and I winning come before them. So listen this story. I never shove me hand below children dress. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to rob like a children chest. Oh no, oh no. I never found no school children a job. Oh no, oh no. And halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never linked myself with no jug baran. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to hold up no gas station. Oh no, oh no. I mean them never calling the killing of any man. So leave Zingo alone. Ah! Who goes there? Who do that? Who next? Ah! Lose me! So with all this drama in the nation, they never say I offer to sing at number one. Instead of this conspired me, they load up a van and they drove to the ministry. The night and news they blow it up on TV. The next day on JoJo program they say to ban me. The year before artists bust up on an eye. I never hear they call and say to disqualify. So what is the problem? I never shove me hand below children dress. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to rob like a children chest. Oh no, oh no. I never offered no school children a job. Oh no, oh no. And halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never know Zingo as no party man. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to hold up no gas station. Oh no.
And a good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'll be taking you up until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 7 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the beautiful Spice Isle of Grenada. I do hope that you all are enjoying your night and you're getting ready for the long weekend. For some people, it's a long weekend because, you know, they have work tomorrow and they were supposed to have work. Yeah, well, you know, it's Friday, so it's Good Friday. Yeah, not bad Friday. It's Good Friday. Yeah, so they're getting, you know, they're off tomorrow, they're off on Monday. So a long weekend, in fact, one of the longest weekends in the year 2023, if not the longest, yeah? So folks will be getting a little rest and so on. Those of you that want to rest and relax and so, yeah, do that. I am just going to say to many of you, though, do take care on the nation's roads. If the last couple of years have been anything to go by what happens on the Easter weekend, and over the last couple decades and all, I can tell you, yeah, when it comes to things like Good Friday and so on, and some of the activities that take place on the nation's beaches and now taking place on the nation's roads, you need to be careful. All right? You have a lot of people, they're basically going to the countryside, so they may be living in St. George, but they're heading up to like St. Andrew, and they're going up to St. Patrick and so on, getting totally drunk and then trying to drive back down, and you know what that's going to cause. Yeah, especially if they're going over like the hills or so. In fact, anywhere that they're driving, it is a problem and can cause problems for both them and innocent people at the side of the road. So please, if you know you're going out this weekend, I said it at the beginning of the program, I'll say it again at the end. If you know you're going out and you're going and drink and this kind of thing, make sure that you have a designated driver, a person who don't drink alcohol, who only will drink water or malt or some kind of thing. They're not interested in drinking alcohol. And even your designated driver, you should ensure that that person gets a proper rest there, because even if you're not drinking alcohol and you're tired, you will tend to fall asleep at the wheel and so. So we know many people tend to do around the island. They want to go around the island and so. Yeah, it's all well and okay to go around the island and so, but what we don't want is that at the end of this long weekend, that we're hearing the stories that we've been hearing around Christmas and leading up to Christmas, and even the last few months, we've been hearing all sorts of things. We are praying that we don't get those kind of stories coming out of this long weekend. So let's be careful. Yeah? Let's ensure that we're being careful this weekend. We don't want to end up with any sort of negative stories coming out of our island on this weekend. So please, if you know your vehicle you don't have proper tires on your vehicle, or your vehicle is not functioning properly, please don't go and try to go all over the island with a vehicle that you know not working properly. Yes, your tires smooth, it on wire. Yeah, or you know that your engine overheating or different problems, but you just decide to hell with it. I ain't letting the weekend pass and I ain't go around the island. No. Let's try to be a bit responsible. Yeah, one miss you ain't pass you. Alright? So let's try to be a bit responsible. And I'm saying this because I know what I've been seeing on the roads even tonight. Yeah? I know what I've been seeing on the roads even tonight. I already passed one accident for the night already, Yeah. I passed one accident for the night already. I know what I've been seeing on the roads. Which is why, again, I'm saying to all of you, I'm pleading with all of you. Because you see, the thing is, if it's you and you alone and you go and you're damaged and it's you alone is one thing. But there are innocent people out there who just innocently walking at the side of the road and getting knocked down and killed. The innocent people who driving, going about the business, and because of the recklessness of some of these drivers, they're running into these vehicles, causing these people to either end up in hospital for a period of time, and even worse, sometimes it's not hospital they end up in. Sometimes they end up in the hands of Lakwa or Otwe. Yeah, so let's just pray that over the weekend we'll have people acting responsibly. The speeding, the drunk and driving, yeah, the tired and driving, pull up and sleep, pull up and take a rest. But let's try to avoid that sort of thing over the weekend. Yeah, let's try to avoid those sort of things that we've had. And also, not only that, but there are one or two other things too. Before we get into our substantial stuff tonight, I just wanted to get into these things. The other one is, those of you that want to go on the beach, yeah, you might be the driver, but you're going on the beach, and you want to get totally drunk and then go in the water, don't do that. That one is death. Yeah? And we've seen it over the years. We know many cases of this kind of thing. Yeah? People go in the water, they catch cramp, or yeah, they get all sorts of things happen to them out there over the Easter weekend. Because that's when you have more people looking to head to the beaches. Alright? But then you want to get totally drunk. You want to drink the rivers drinking the rivers like it's pipe water. And then you want to go and swim when you're totally inebriated. Number one, please don't do it. And secondly, those of you that see them attempting to do it, stop them now. Because you know what has happened sometimes? They get drunk, they go in the water, they get into trouble, and you who should have stopped them from going in the water in the first place, go and jump in behind them, and two all you end up drowning. It's happened. We know these are things that, what I'm saying here are things that happen on a yearly basis. And just like some of us are not learning from it. I'm seeing some kind of speeding. Unnecessary. I don't know if these people and them trying to see if they could take off. Seriously, the speed I see some of these vehicles traveling with, especially in the south of the island. And again, busmen does get blamed. Listen, I don't care who say are wrong and think. Busmen is the best drivers in the south of the island right now, Because I seen some nonsense from some other people. Busmen does get the blame. And while busmen getting the blame, we're not talking about the people who have the private vehicle and doing all kind of nonsense on the road all over the island. So when you look at the south of the island, and you see fellas basically taking the Maurice Bishop Highway as, I don't know if they think that is actually the airport. They're mixing up the Maurice Bishops between the airport and the highway. So they're trying to take off, going down the stretch. That sort of nonsense. Yeah? Again, it's not your own life you're playing with other people's own too. That's the problem, That's part of the problem. It's not your own life alone. We have people getting knocked down at the side of the road within the last few months, at least about 3. Walking innocently at the side of the road and get knocked down. I don't know the circumstances surrounding all of them, but it has to be that somebody wasn't driving properly with due care and attention or the speed that they should be driving for those kind of things to happen. It has to be. So I'm saying, let's try to be careful on the nation's roads over the next couple of days. Let's try to get to Tuesday without hearing that this one in hospital or that one in hospital or this incident happened or that incident happened or somebody went to the beach here and you hear that. No, let's try to avoid that sort of thing. If you know you're seeing people drunk trying to go into the sea, go into the water, stop them. Stop them. Because when they go and they get in trouble in there, then some people want to play Superman to jump in to go and save them. They grab them, they pull them under as well. 2 people gone instead of 1. The waterfalls, same thing. Yeah, same thing goes to the waterfalls. Alright? Just thought I would get into that before we get into tonight's program. Alright? Nice. Yes, also Susan, if you can't swim, stay close to the shore. Some people want to, you can't swim, but you want to go out far and show off. Nah.
You don't need no passage, just walk right.
And yes, that's good advice. Also, don't eat then go in the water. That's a problem right there.
Greenhouse is open, everyone welcome. Just walk right in. We're not critical.
So let me say a special good night to you, Susan, Norma, Sammy. I'm seeing you, Shauna. And let me see, Tally, good night to you. And McLean, Dennis, Toya, what's up? Peter, Landon, I'm seeing Jocelyn, Shemi, Gil, Wallan, Linda, Imelda, Francois. Seeing all of you there on the live. Let me see over on the YouTube. I have to refresh this. Ainun, Beavis. Hey, Beavis, what's up? Manda, Gloria, Deborah, Maud, Kathleen, Wilfred. I'm seeing Bernadette. Marilyn, good night, girl. Oswald, Faithlin, Halley, good night to you. And Henry, Michelle, well, yes, I called Gloria already. Yes, Gemma and Gertrude, good night to both of you. Cousin Koi, good night to you. Let me see, I'm seeing Sherma, girl, I ain't somebody bad books, and I had to sort that out. Wilfred, Kathleen, Michelle, the other Michelle, Miriam, and Barbara, good night to you. And, Anne Marie, good night to you, Nice. Jackie, Deborah, Matthew Bowen out there in Brooklyn. Jacinta, good night to you. Era, Listra, Shajan, good night to all of you. Yeah, I hope that you all are having a wonderful, wonderful night tonight. Yeah, it's it's the holy season. Yeah, so tomorrow is Good Friday, isn't it? Yeah.
Just walk right in. People get ready, but the greenhouse is open. Everyone welcome, just walk right in. People get ready, but the greenhouse is open. You don't need no passage, just walk right in. People get ready, but the greenhouse is open.
So remember to like and share.
Welcome, just walk right in.
What? Coming greener than green, you know. Just tell me where.
Yeah, we're gonna start the full conversation within the next 5 minutes. Just making sure all of you are in.
Serious business women. Greener than green, you know. Serious business women. Want you.
People get ready. The greenhouse is open. You don't need no passage. Just walk right in.
Yeah, folks, in fact, I was listening to the Parliament session today. And as expected, as I very well expected, you heard the arrogance coming from the government side. You heard very pertinent questions and subject matter being brought up from the opposition side, from the other side to the government. So basically, you could say opposition in total, but it's not necessarily opposition because the 3 members business, who represents business, who represents the trade unions, and who represents the fishermen and agriculture, they are what you call independent senators. But you heard from that side of the House very pertinent questions being asked. Some of them the same questions that we've been asking here. You heard the trade union representative openly stated that, look, you all should consult further in relation to this bill, the Data Protection Bill 2023. You all should consult further in relation to it, because this is a bill that affects his constituents, and his constituents are the workers of Grenada. He represents all of us, you know. Whether you're unionized or not, he represents all workers in Grenada. And he made the point that most of the workers that are going to be affected by this bill are workers not in the public sector, but in the private sector. Yeah? So it's going to affect workers in the public sector. It's going to affect workers in the private sector. And from him speaking in that way, you can tell that no consultation took place between the government of Grenada and the Trade Unions Council. No consultation. They did not consult with the people who are going to be directly affected by that bill. They said they spoke with the Media Workers Association. Well, we know the story in relation to that. I've said that what Mr. Gerard Joseph and the executive of the Media Workers Association have done is just simply legitimize the words of the Prime Minister that, hey, we've met with the Media Workers Association. No, you meet with some people from the Media Workers Association with their own ideas. The others in the Media Workers Association did not get the opportunity to give their view. You heard the Attorney General today saying that she met with the Media Workers Association. You heard her saying that she met with the Bar Association, and up to now she still has not received the dossier. So why the rush? It's like I said last night, they're rushing to do everything. And every time they rush to do things, they do it wrong. I really enjoyed listening to Senator Nolan Cox, Senator Nealon Franklin, yeah, even Senator Rahman, Senator Andre Lewis, and I need to single out Senator Roderick St. Clair, the agricultural senator. I need to single him out because there are things that he pointed out that I didn't even pick up. The fact that this project that they're saying they will get the money from if they pass this bill has 40,000 US per country for consultations. So we don't know if the government got that 40,000 US and they used it for consultations or not, because as we know they didn't have consultations, so we don't know. But he pointed out, in fact, while he was pointing it out, he pointed it out twice. Before, when he was basically calling on them to withdraw the bill, yeah, when they were about to do the first reading, and he was when they did the first reading, and he was saying they need to stop at that point and probably lay the bill there and come back to it at another sitting. And that was basically the general consensus on the other side. Yeah? So you had Senator Roderick St. Clair. I don't know how many of you got a chance to listen to the Senate today, but I'll tell you that I think those on the opposition benches and the independent senators' benches were spot on. That's a program I used to do. With their talking points, that is this program tonight, and they make sure that it was really hard talk. Yeah. They came out and they put forward some very interesting points, as I said. Even some points that I didn't pick up, they picked up today and were discussing. So Senator Roderick St. Clair was speaking, and I'm sorry I don't have his stuff here tonight, but we're going to have that on Monday, right? So Senator Roderick St. Clair, he ensured that he researched the source. They said it's a World Bank project, OECS, yeah, all of that. He went and he researched and saw that, hey, they actually have money in the budget there for this project for consultations. So we need to know if they get the money and they use it for consultations, because as we know, consultations did not take place until members of the media sent the bill to the Bar Association. Yeah, the president of the Bar Association, Mr. Derek Sylvester, admitted that the first time he saw the bill was when he got it from the media, not from the government of Grenada. He also went further to state that this government, this NDC administration, has not been sending any of the legislation they're going to Parliament with to the Bar Association, as was being done under the NNP administration. So, I mean, here it is. you have a situation where the farmers fishermen representative is saying that, well, look, you need further consultation on this thing and you need further education on it. Because if people are concerned, it must mean that people do not understand. And instead of telling people things like, all you're stupid, all you're dumb, or all you're just bad mind, all you don't want the bill passed because you want the government fail, the idiotic, unintellectual drivel that you've been hearing from the government benches even today, all of them speak a pile of gubar. Go and research it, it's Hindi. Gubar. One pile of gubar. They went and they talked today. Even in the committee stage, I was listening to the committee stage, and my goodness, it just showed how much the people who are pushing this bill down your throat, who has shoved it down the throat of us Grenadians, how much these people don't even understand what they're passing. Again, I'll go back to Senator Roderick St. Clair. He said to them, he said, listen, in the committee stage, when they're discussing the bill, they sit and they start to discuss different parts of the bill, so they take it apart. He was speaking about if churches are exempted or if churches are included. The Attorney General, in whose bill the name is, who's saying nothing is wrong, you can't be afraid of this bill, couldn't answer the question. She could not answer that question. The Attorney General, yeah, the Minister of Legal Affairs, the tongue girl, the original tongue girl, could not answer the question as posed by Senator St. Clair. If churches are exempted, because churches also carry personal information. Yeah? Churches around this island, around the entire island, have a lot of us personal information. If you've donated to the church, they may have that information there. Marriage, death, baptism, all of that, and the accompanying information as to mother, father, date of birth, all this information, personal information, which is important personal information that can be used by a bad actor to do wrong things, are in churches around the island. So they are also included, and the church, remember, the church conference of churches have been silent on this. They ain't say nothing. They ain't say nothing in relation to this. But it was made painfully obvious by Senator St. Clair today that churches are also included. They're not exempted. They're not one of the exempted bodies. So it means, you know what that means for the churches? Because of this bill, it means that they now have to go and find a means of securing that information. So it can't be that you just have everybody files in a filing cabinet in a room that anybody could walk in and walk out and that kind of thing. You have to ensure that all of that information is secured properly. I don't really have a problem with that. But know that there's a cost that's going to be incurred by every church on the island that has those records. Every single church that has your marriage certificate, the copy of your marriage certificate, the death certificate from relatives and so that have gone before, baptismal certificates and all of that, they have records of all those things. And they are going to now have to ensure that they put the infrastructure in place to safeguard that. Yeah, every church, none are exempted, none. Even the Nyabingi, everybody. Yeah, you're going to have to put structures in place to safeguard that. Senator Nealon Franklin asked a very important question. He asked, what is the situation with the different businesses that are now going to have to follow the rules under this? Are they now going to have to buy new equipment and buy different things to improve their security and so on? Then you had Senator David Andrew stand up in a very arrogant manner. Very arrogant manner. It's a valid question. Because many of the businesses out there did not know that they are going to have to buy stuff to ensure that they safeguard information. Yeah. You're going to have to make sure that if you have your information on digital platforms, that you have proper software against cyber attack and hacking. You have to ensure, because if you don't, according to the Data Protection Act, if you don't have those things in place and somebody were to hack you, get that information and send it out, you, let me tell you, you, the business person, you are the ones that are going to end up having to pay in the courts, because you did not put the structures in place to protect that individual's information. You can't have the information just on a hard drive that somebody could walk in and take up and walk out. So you have to ensure you have proper locks, you have everything secured properly. Yeah? So all of this, a lot of business people didn't really realize that, hey, this thing affects me, Businesses that have people's information. For instance, a company like courts, when you go to like courts and so you might bring a form of identification, they have that on their system. Now, if somebody was to hack court system and get a copy of your passport or your ID or NIS or so on, courts is liable under this act. You could sue courts because they didn't take the proper measures to protect your information. And even before a situation where it's not safeguarded properly by courts, right? Even in a situation where it's not properly safeguarded by them, before it is even hacked into, if the commission decides that they check in on them and see if they have put things in place and they didn't put it in place, they can be sanctioned. So it means businesses may not have realized, especially those businesses that use some form of identification, they may not have realized that they now have to spend, could be a couple hundred US or a couple thousands US to update their security systems in relation to people's personal information. So the question by Senator Neelan Franklin was important. But Senator David Andrew must realize, you lose, you didn't win. You understand? You get a blind in the Senate, chill. What you mean, duh? What stupidness is that? The people out there don't know. The question by the senator was aimed at you being able to respond and say, yes, this is so. And therefore, people who didn't know will now know. But the thing is, all you don't want people know. That's the thing, They don't want anyone to know what is really going on. Yeah? And someone is asking here if I'll be on Easter Monday. Yes, there will be a program on Easter Monday. I did say that last night. There will be a program on Monday. I'm still contemplating if it will be a live one or a pre-recorded one, but it will be on Monday definitely. One way or the other, there will be a program. Come 8 o'clock Monday night, tune in. This program will be on. Yeah. So again, I was listening to Senator Claudette Joseph. Again, arrogant. You can't even win the seat in tongue. But none of them so in beaten Peter anyway. You can't win the seat in tongue. But you're there. Arrogant as what? The same individual, folks. The same individual who just about 2 years ago was they wanting to take the new National Party government to the Constitutional Court in relation to a bill. Now has a flawed bill. The bill has several flaws in it. And is saying, let's pass it and you could trust us and you could trust us and you could trust us. What sort of nonsense is that? What do you mean we could trust you? Why should we? Yeah? Especially you fire a whole labor commission. She fired a whole labor commissioner. But saying that we should trust them. Yeah? I listened to Senator Rahman. He made several recommendations. He said, listen, I'm willing to support the bill, but I will support it. And he made several recommendations. If these recommendations are brought on board, we're willing to support it. You had several people. Yeah? You had several people, and let me see, somebody's telling me they're getting an audio problem. I wonder if it's, is everyone getting an audio problem from my end? I'm not sure. Let me make sure. Let me see. Yeah, I'll see if this is better here. Yeah. So I'm saying that on several, and I lost my train of thought there one time. But yeah, I'm saying that Senator Rahman made the recommendation. You also had that recommendation coming from, first it came from Senator Andre Lewis. It was followed up by a recommendation for the same thing from Senator Roderick Sinclair and Senator Rahman, that the number of commissioners needs to be increased from 3 to 5. The argument being made during the committee stage, because I know some of you ain't going and stay and watch everything. During the committee stage, the argument being made by, my goodness, by Senator Claudette Joseph was that Trinidad has 1 commissioner and Jamaica has 1 commissioner. And here in Grenada, she would have even preferred if we had 1 commissioner. Then just a few minutes later, the same individual is saying that they have 3 commissioners because in case one of the commissioners can't make it, then 2 would be a quorum. 2 could have an official meeting, a sanctioned meeting, and therefore the business could go on. But there's the same person that's saying 1. What if the 1 person sick? What if the 1 person go and do surgery and had to take medical leave? Then that means the commission closed down. Then both herself and again Senator David Andrew, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Honestly, I don't think you read the bill. And if you read it, I don't think you understand it. Yeah? But you pass it. You all push through. You had the numbers, you won't pass it. I don't think you even, in fact, not I don't think, I know you ain't understand. Because you can't be that bad-minded to understand the flaws with it and just go with it. I don't think you're that bad-minded. Yeah? But you had him saying that the reason that you have the 3 people instead of having 5 people is that people's information will be involved and too much of the information will be going out to too many people. In other words, it's better if you have 1 person or 2 people or 3 people with the information, because if you have 5, that's you're exposing people's personal information to more people. Senator David Andrew is speaking crap. Pure, unadulterated nonsense. Gubar. Yeah? BS. Yeah? You need to go back to wherever you come out with that stupidness. Because number 1, if you read the act, you'd realize that the commissioners do not control people's personal information. There is no part of that Data Protection Bill 2023 that gives the commissioners people personal information. The only time the commissioners may become aware of people's personal information is when a breach has already taken place. In other words, people's information has already been leaked or put out there. So then it doesn't matter if it's 1 commissioner, 2 or 3 or 4, because the information is already out there. That's why there is a complaint. So nowhere under the act, in fact, I think it was Senator Lewis had to make that clear to him. Nowhere under the act. They're just looking, anything you come with, they're looking for an excuse. Because the boss don't tell them, no matter what the other side say, no matter what John Public say, just pass the bill today. Just pass it. Just pass it. You just want to rush, pass it. You understand? Same thing like when they was driving in Springs. Some people say, it seems, I don't know, I hear stories that, I wonder who was the driver. Yeah, it could have been the driver was the driver. I hearing things. Yeah? But the same thing as when they was in Springs. Just pass it, and you see what happened? They end up in an accident, right off the state car. Well, I know if they write it off, but they mash it up bad. Yeah? Rushing and just pass thing. So there was in Springs, my community, just gone speeding, and you see where it happened right in front of the church. They're telling all you turn to God, but they still ain't listening. The message there was stop rushing to pass thing. That is why you bounce in front of the church in Springs. That was God speaking to you. Stop rushing to pass things. So all it was rushing to pass things, and you see what happened. Yeah? You see what happened, but all you still ain't listening. All you breaking stick in all your ears. So all you still rush and pass. So I'm calling on the Governor General, I am calling on the Governor General to don't sign this bill. To ask the government to consider what the Grenada Bar Association and other segments of the Grenadian community have been saying in relation to this bill. Because what you've been hearing from the opposition, you have now heard from the farmers and agricultural representative. You've heard it from the business representative. The same sections that the New National Party and that I have been talking about here. The same sections. You heard it from the trade union representative. And out of all of them, remember, he's one of the people because his workers, the workers under the TUC and outside of the TUC, workers in general are going to be affected by this. They are the targets. Well, some of the targets. We know some of the other targets are when it comes to these things. They are being asked questions, for instance, of if political people who come into information from the government, by a roundabout means, if they are to be considered under this bill, they can't answer. They can't, and you know why they can't answer? They know very well why they can't answer. They will not answer. It is when they weaponize this bill to do their dastardly deeds and to try and cover up whatever is going on that they're so scared that people like us find out. They want to hear Master Carl come a morning and say, let me bust something. They want to hear Andre Donald come and say, watch, we have something to run there. They want to hear Mr. Francis Pierre when he come on at 12 on Real FM. They want to hear when he come on and he say, this information that we have received. And worse yet, they want to hear Talking Points come and say, breaking news. They want to hear us say that. Because they are afraid. That's why they run into. Listen, I heard the minister of, good night to you, Kathy Pope. I heard the minister of Legal Affairs continually repeating about Trinidad. Let me tell you something, Trinidad has been working on this same legislation from the year 2011. They're not part of the OECS thing, but they have their Data Protection Act. They've been working on that from 2011. They have consultations ongoing in relation to the Data Protection Act into 2024. Not even this year, They didn't say they have consultations going on for a month or two, Trinidad have not operationalized theirs. They are still in the consultations. So when the minister comes there and tries to give the impression that Trinidad have an act, so we must have one. Trinidad have murders, we must have that too. Trinidad have all kind of things. Anything Trinidad have, we must have too. Says Jamaica has an act. Jamaica has one of the highest murder rates around. So that means we must have that too. And no disrespect to my Jamaican friends. No disrespect to my Trinidadian friends and family. I'm just stating facts. Because I know it are Trinidadians and Jamaicans listening. I'm just stating facts. Not because the legislation exists in other countries mean we must have it. It's a dunce argument. There's no other way. I'd say intellectually dishonest, but no. Let me just put it down in simple language. It's a dunce argument. To try to tell us that because another country has that act, that we must have it. And have it in the same way that they have it. So if theirs is flawed, we must have one that has flaws in it as well. Instead of you try to be the example to the others by having one that everybody else could model theirs on. No, them others have it and we go have one too. We just taking it. But you ain't want to talk about the 40,000 US that you are supposed to get in relation to consultations. You want to talk about that. So when Senator Roderick Sinclair started to raise that and started to raise the different aspects of that particular project, she tried to shut him up. By saying, well, we don't have that document. And I find the document in 5 minutes. 5. Well, less than 5. Probably 5 seconds. Because by the time I dip, I was able to find it. But yet still, she was trying to shut him up.
For there is a wind of change, it blowing through the Spice Island.
Yeah, so that's the kind of behavior that they went into the parliament today and display. That's the kind of things that they went on there and get on with today. So now they're going to make the Data Protection Act into law. Let's see. Let's see if they will be bringing it back to Parliament anytime soon with any amendments. Amendments that were recommended before they went to Parliament today and they could have already fixed. All they had to do for the last 3 weeks was say, hey, we're having consultations with the different sectors. Up to now, I am near positive that they have not contacted the opposition and asked for consultations in relation to that bill. And it was clear from today, the farmers and fishermen, the trade unions, and the business people who are going to have to be taking out that money now to upgrade their systems, because even if people are paying you by credit card, so you have their information stored on a system inside there, however, that information is subject to the Data Protection Act as well, Yeah, people's financial information and that kind of thing. Which means that you have to upgrade your security systems. If you don't upgrade your security systems, it means that you will be in breach of the act. So I know many of you business people probably didn't realize that. But it's why we've been saying that you need consultation in relation to this bill and education. It's the same way, friends, that they have gone forward with the bi-monthly payments. So they're moving forward with bi-monthly payments. I think they're supposed to have had a Zoom today. Let's see. I think they had a Zoom somewhere today. What do you think with it? We had something to do with the Zoom? Yeah. So I think they had that Zoom was supposed to take place today. Right? So I don't know if any of you was able to attend because pensioners, obviously, don't use Zoom. Some of them could barely make a WhatsApp video call to see their grandchildren. Yeah? Some of them could barely do that. Much less to tell them, go on Zoom to go into a meeting now with the Ministry of Finance to discuss this. Again, rushing to pass thing. And we see in Springs, just a few weeks ago, in front of the church, Papa God was saying, stop rushing to pass. Take your time. Move carefully. No, they're rushing to pass. So they're rushing to pass in Springs and badam. Just so, state car in the garage. It's an object lesson. Papa God talking to you. Listen. Listen, he talking to you. So they had this. That was supposed to have taken place today. Obviously, I couldn't tune into it myself because I was busy otherwise. But they had that taking place today. Yeah? They had that taking place today. And I don't know what's the outcome, but I'll say this. Even while they're speaking about bi-monthly salaries, even while they're having that conversation, you have several categories of people who have not been paid for the month of April yet. Today is the 6th. Yeah. I've been getting the information from different people who have not yet been paid by the government of Grenada. I'm not talking about people in the private sector. I'm talking about people in the public sector who still have not been paid. There still seem to be issues with some people and their pensions and the payment of their pensions. And I really hope that issue is dealt with very, very soon. I really hope that issue is dealt with soon.
The bushing program, or you cut that too. Oh, people, sir, 600 million.
We're going to open the phone lines 4407377.
Don't fool of yourself, cut the people.
And 347-329-3101.
It's blowing in the next direction. Man, the wind.
So the bi-monthly payments, yeah, they're going to pay bi-monthly payments. You saw what the lending institutions have been saying. You saw what they're saying. Yeah, they're saying that they will take the money. Well, I mean, is a bank, is a credit union. If you bring money, you expect them not to take it. It's salaries, They know where the money, they know the source of funds. So if you're bringing it 4 times a month, they're taking it. Yeah? But they're only going to apply the payments to the loans once a month. That's guaranteed. Unless you're just going to take a loan with them and you have an agreement for fortnightly payments, as in you're going to pay on your principal and so on a fortnightly basis, right? Unless you have that arrangement with them, because You realize a riser said, don't bother come in. They don't need you to come in because they have an agreement with you that says either on the 28th or the 29th of a month that they will deduct from your account X amount towards a loan payment. So if they put half of that on hold when money comes in on the 15th and they allow you to use the rest, or they hold everything, that's up to them. But they will accept the payment next week. They're going to accept it as normal. Yeah? And again, I don't want people to get this thing wrong. We're not saying that bi-monthly payments are a bad thing. No one is saying that. I'm not saying that. We're not saying bi-monthly payments is necessarily a bad thing. If it can work and people can have access to money throughout the month, all well and good. But stop trying to sell people as Senator Roderick St. Clair made the point today when he said he feel that he gained bread, but the bread ain't finished cooked yet. Because they're rushing. They're rushing. Yeah? So instead of you take the time to do some financial literacy training together with the Public Workers Union, who represent these workers, and the other unions like TAU and so on that represent the workers, instead of you take the time to do some financial literacy training with these individuals so they understand how to manage their money better, you rush and you decide you're paying them next week, and then you're telling them we go have sessions with you to show you how to manage your money better. After you already reached to the stage where you send the money out already. Yeah, because the documents supposed to already be in if they pay next week, you know. And then you come with these kind of cockamamie. Cockamamie is an actual English word, but I wonder if that word is an English word or... You come with these stories about, hey, you all are going to pay off your loan faster. You would pay off your loan faster if on a mortgage, right, with a declining balance. In other words, you're paying declining interest on the declining balance, right? If you're paying interest on the declining balance at a different rate, right? If you're doing that, then you run the possibility of paying off your mortgage faster. But which financial institution that may have 1,000, 1,500 public workers there and might have half of them with loans and so inside there that they're paying off are going to give up that money? Possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars or even into the millions for some financial institutions. Which one of them you really think are going to say, we're not going to apply the money on once a month, we're going to apply the money to the account twice a month, to the loan account, that we're going to apply that money to the loan account twice a month? Which one of those financial institutions would like at the end of 2023 that they have to show their books to their board of directors and that they have made a loss instead of made a profit? Which one of them want to do that? Because remember, they're also encouraging the private sector to do the same thing. Yeah, the same private sector who they gave $5 million worth of freight, yeah, for the last, 6 months or so? Yeah, $5 million, and they tell them pass it on to the Grenadian people. Grenadian people, they get 5 million. Or they get 5 cents, much less 5 million. How much things all they went and they see it was so low that it affect the cost of your groceries in a positive way. In other words, that you had to pay less for your groceries. Or has it been a case that you're paying more for your groceries? Because these companies are not there in an altruistic sense. They're not there to try and help people. And so let's just be realistic here. Companies are there to help people. They're there to make money. They would try to give you the impression that yes, they are there to help and they're your friend, and that supermarket is the place where families must come because they care about you and that kind of thing. No, they don't care about you. They care about your money. Plain and simple. Yeah? They care about your money. And if they have to make you feel as part of their family, for you to come, for them to make their money, that is what those institutions, yeah, I don't know why my throat just is acting up tonight, will do. I know outside is a bit hazy, so I think maybe my allergies are acting up. But that is exactly what they will do. So don't believe that a supermarket that could make an additional $300,000 in 6 months is going to give up that $300,000 and say, let's give it to the customers. Joke all you're making. Joke all you're making. But we know some people had to be, some repayments had to take place, man. Yeah. All their friends with big businesses all over Grenada, they had to make our money. They had to so one might get a look 50,000 or 100,000 there, and next one might get a look $1 million according to the size of the business. Another one might get 200,000, that kind of thing. But that is what has taken place there with the reduction of the freight to the 2019 level for the last 6 months. The Grenadian Treasury has lost, businesses have gained, the average Grenadian gets nothing. And they're proud to come and tell you how much money gone in that, $5 million, and they're proud to come and say that. $5 million, and we believe that this has been passed on. Pass on to who? Pass on to where? I wonder if I have it there. I think I have it there somewhere, Let me see if I could find that. Yeah. Let me see. I must have it somewhere there. I'm pretty sure I would be able to find it. Let me just put this on and get it for you.
Listen to the people, Mr. PM. Don't play with the Grenadian people, cause the win is turning around. That's all. Like all you did, only plan how to win. And after that, all you can do are thing. That's all for people, but
Yeah, so I have it right here. Let me just play that for you right about now.
As you would recall, as part of our measures to address the cost of living, the government had agreed from October 1, 2022 to cap the freight rates charged at the port by the Customs Department to 2019 levels. That's the pre-COVID-19 levels, in an attempt to alleviate the impact of the external cost of inflation driven by significant increases in freight rates. That initial fiscal measure was for 6 months and would have expired as of Friday, the 31st of March. The government has reviewed the report from the Ministry of Finance and from the Customs Department and have analyzed the measure that was taken. The measure was always intended to be temporary. We are satisfied that freight rates are beginning to normalize and are getting closer to pre-COVID levels of 2019. And in the circumstances, the government has taken the decision not to continue with the capping of the freight rates at 2019 levels. So effective as of the 1st of April 2023, freight would be calculated on the current market freight rates. I should indicate that as a result of the measure adopted, by the government, the government essentially forwent revenue of approximately $5 million. We want to extend our gratitude to the importers who would have passed on the reduced freight rates as a result of the government measure to our consumers. We note from the analysis coming from the Customs Department that two of the goods which were significantly impacted by the capping of the freight rates was the cost of cement and the cost of imported chicken. And obviously cement is fundamental to the construction industry, and so the construction industry in particular ought to have benefited from that. And all of us who consume imported chicken, chicken being a favorite meat product of our citizens, would also have benefited from that. Imported chicken, chicken being a favorite meat product of our citizens, would also have benefited from that.
Yeah, so they say we all benefited. Yeah, but yet still, when I played that night before, people started sending the price of chicken that they paid a couple months ago and what they've been paying recently. And what he's saying and the actual fact isn't balancing off at all. It just isn't balancing off. All right? So he's saying one thing and what we're hearing is something else. All right? So You know, I asked a question last night, and I want to ask that question again tonight. And if you have an answer, you can give me a call. The question is simply, what are the achievements of Deacon Mitchell as Minister of Finance? Well, I could give you some of what he did wrong. Yeah, but what are some of the achievements of Deacon Mitchell as Prime Minister of Grenada? What are some of the things that we see as achievement? That he take $150 from the most poor and vulnerable among us? That's an achievement. Or maybe you want to say an achievement is that he closed down the Marketing and National Importing Board, sent home the 94 workers, then took back some of them for a period of time. I think the rest of them about to go home again, right? That he was able to give them a payoff and so. After they tried to get these workers to sign and resign, which would mean that they lose the NIS benefit that they could have gotten, that they're getting right now. Well, they should be able to get right now because they lost their job due to closure by the government. It's not a situation that they leave the work. But if they had left the job, they could not go to NIS for that new unemployment benefit that exists. Right? Now, additional to that, when it comes to the Marketing and National Importing Board, he's the Minister of Finance that said, we're closing Marketing Board and we're going to accept all the liabilities of the Marketing and National Importing Board. So everybody who Marketing Board owe, we're going to have to pay. Right? Everybody that Marketing Board owe, we are going to have to pay. That is what he said. He even quoted figures, 15 million and 2 million this way, or 2 something million this way, and that kind of thing. Yeah? That is what he said. That is what he said. Now, we see a release from the government of Grenada coming out now to all the people at Marketing Board owe, saying, give us a 50% haircut. In other words, accept half of the money that we have for you and forget the other half. Now, in my mind, that's okay for some of the big creditors who are owed millions of dollars. But for the poor man that have a little $4,000 that they owe him, and I say a little $4,000, a little $4,000 is a lot of $4,000 is a lot of money for a lot of us out here. Right? But to somebody who has a small business operating, that $4,000 is capital that they need to put back into their business. And instead of just paying the people the $4,000 as you give the bravado that you have, because remember you meet a full treasury last year, instead of giving back the people this money that you're supposed to have there to give to them, now you're saying give us a 50% haircut. I am saying that people under a certain level must not be included. Whether you want to say 50,000 or you want to say 20,000, anybody under that level, we are not asking you to take a haircut. We're paying you your full amount of money. Anybody over that, we're asking if you're willing to accept a haircut. And then you know what they have their minions out there saying, their sycophants. Yeah. They're Tuntun Makut. They have them out there saying that, they just ask people. They didn't tell people they have to take a haircut. In the first place, if you care about people, you wouldn't be asking poor people to take a haircut. In fact, you're letting them go Rasta because you want to see them expand. So you wouldn't be asking them to take no haircut. Barbers would have go broke. If you really care about those people. How can you ask somebody that's owed just a couple $100 to take a haircut? You could ask somebody that's owed millions of dollars and you know that that is going to negatively affect the finances of the country. You could ask them that. So after making all this, Dr. Mitchell has a way he does say it. He said, manger papa. Yeah, manger papa. So after they make all this manger inside there, yeah, St. Lucians will tell you just manger. After they make all this manger inside the Ministry of Finance, they go and they dump it on Cornwall. And those of you that old enough remember Posey. Yeah, right now. After they make the manger, they come out with the Posey now right now. And it's a serious enamel one straight from China. Yeah, them old time enamel Posey, you remember that? Yeah, man. A serious enamel Posey come out with there, you know. Yeah, and I feel they forget that one and they went out and come back home. Because that one. Yeah. So they come out with that. And he go and he put it on Mr. Cornwall. Yeah, he's not there tonight saying, let this chalice pass from me, you know. He take the chalice and he throw it on Mr. Lord. That is problems. Jocelyn, yes, I spoke to Cami this afternoon. She's okay. She was down in town this afternoon. I know she's most likely listening if she's not too tired. Sometimes she goes home and if she's a bit sleepy, tired, and so she may take a little rest, which I am happy she does. All right, but I did speak to her this afternoon, and she's okay. She was in town today, and so, you know, the usual fighting up. All right, nice, yeah. So the Prime Minister goes, and so what has the Prime Minister achieved? I'm waiting for somebody to call me, 440-7377 or 347-329-3101. So I'm waiting for somebody to call me and tell me what are the achievements of the Prime Minister in the Ministry of Finance. What did he do that, according to George Wilm, is so spectacular? What did he do in the Ministry of Finance that set it on a right footing? He met it on proper footing. He met significant amounts of money inside there until he was able to pay the public workers' pension that the New National Party was going to pay anyway. So we have a caller online. Good night. Hello. Good night, caller.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night. Yeah, just lower the volume in the back a little for me and talk to me on the phone. That's no problem. Don't worry, you could always go back and listen to yourself there afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, go right ahead, caller. You're live.
So, hello, good night.
Good night.
I'm going to tell you the achievements, and I think we as ladies should remember that.
Mm-hmm.
How long, and I'm asking a question, deserve an answer, but I'm going to say all what I have to say before, and then you will answer me when I am off.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take for a woman to make a child? And we should realize what the situation really is, because if when that government reached into office, they got a pregnant, what they said? They got a pregnant
Treasury,
right? So, a pregnant treasury, how long does a woman remain pregnant for? 9 months. And the NDC government has been in office for 9 months. Hence the reason why, after the birth of the baby, realizing probably the child is not yours, you give it to another man, you bring in another man to help along with the husband that was there before. Hence the reason why the brother who is the permanent secretary is given that job to do. So we can't expect better from the Prime Minister. That child was not his. So because that baby was not his, he handed it over because the baby have already been born. So he probably give it to the rightful father now. So probably that is the father that had to be there before he came into office, not knowing the amount of monies that was there. So now he knows the amount of money that is there. He knew the amount of money that is there. He utilized the money in whatever way he wanted to, and now he had given it back to the person that it really belongs to. Have a blessed night. Bye.
caller, I love you. Oh gosh, no. No, this caller make water come to my eye. No, I have to take a song break to catch myself after that one. Seriously.
The NDC administration failed in the first term, and they're begging for another one. Sing for them, sing for them. They're going the wrong way. Mash up NDC. They're going the wrong way. Cannot run this country. They're going the wrong way. The leader don't listen. They're going the wrong way. So they divided into. They lie for the people. So many things they promise they go do. They say $700 not enough money.
Listen, that caller is one of the best I ever hear. Seriously.
The money program over. They go in the wrong way. One time.
Caller must, if I had to write a speech, caller calling you. Seriously, I had to find you and call you.
They say the leader don't listen. They go in the wrong way.
Because, I mean, we're asking, what are the achievements? So, according to the caller, after 9 months, they realize the child ain't there, so they pass it on to our next one.
And they keep pointing finger at one another. Carnival come and carnival go. Problems to pay price money, you know.
And you see, these are the things. What do we have? Late salaries. For the first payment that was made under an NDC budget, you didn't have a problem with salaries last year because they were still paying under the new National Party 2022 budget. So they were paying salaries, you were getting it on time and so on. Come 2023, when their budget fell into place, when you're supposed to be getting paid, people start to get paid late until they very disrespectfully send out a letter telling people, well, this is when we're supposed to pay. And so no, people became accustomed to receiving their salaries by a particular time. So what are the achievements? Yeah, what are the achievements of Deacon Mitchell that you're hearing certain activists out there saying he did a wonderful job in the ministry? What wonderful job did he do in the Ministry of Finance? Yeah, he meted pregnant and now find out there's a horn child, but wrong father. He give it away. That is what happened. And we're seeing now that he has handed, I was saying he handed the posy, but right now wrong is the child he hand. He hand the horn child to Brother Cornwall. So now Brother Cornwall had to try and raise it. And we know what going on with Pampers and them kind of thing there. So he had to raise it. So that is the situation we find ourselves in. But meanwhile, we have to remember that while all of the smoke and mirrors are taking place, the intention is to sell GRENLEC. We have to remember what was said by the Prime Minister previously in relation to GRENLEC. Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, so I think I have it here. Let me just get it over here as well. Nice. Because I want to make sure that you hear this. I don't know if many of you have heard it before, but let me just get it here for you. All right, I want you to listen carefully to what the question the Prime Minister was asked when he just came in as Prime Minister. So this is just about 9 going on 10 months ago. Yeah, it should be about 10 months now. Right, so 9 going on 10 months. Right. So I want you all to listen carefully to what the Prime Minister says in relation to GRENLEC. Because remember, he is now the minister under who GRENLEC falls. GRENLEC is his direct responsibility now. So let's hear what he had to say.
How are you going to deal with the GRENLEC situation?
No, well, I think at this stage I can't give you a definitive answer. I certainly would say my inclination is I'm not satisfied, even with an NDC administration, that the government should be the majority shareholder. Right? This is energy. It is a highly complex, highly capital-intensive industry. And so to me, what we need to look at is find a strategic partner or strategic shareholder in conjunction with the Grenadian shareholders, because you have to remember the National Insurance Scheme, the Grenada Ports Authority, and at least another 1,600 Grenadians are shareholders of that company. They've depended over the years on being paid the dividends. They've depended over the years on having a well-run company. And the employees have benefited, have been well paid, and for the most part, are probably some of the highest paid employees in Grenada. So what you want is a strategic partner that can allow the company to continue on that prior path of being well-run, profitable, where the employees are well taken care of, where we have a reliable supply of energy, and at the same time begin the process of transitioning to renewables, because that's also critical. As long as we're burning fuel, we're subject to the vicissitudes of the ups and downs of the cost of oil. And so it's important for us to have a strategic partner who wants to also invest in renewables and who wants to follow our policy goal of saying we need to have as much renewables penetrating our grid as possible. So that is the direction I think we are likely to go. and we really do want to push the renewables or any other form of alternative energy that is feasible in Grenada. So that is really what ideally the approach we would be taking.
But that is more long term. I mean, we can't have engines failing on us and load shedding and.
No, well then, absolutely. So in that case, if we need to, if you have to buy the bullet, you buy the bullet, which means if you have to recapitalize the company and you have to I don't see it as long term, frankly. Let me just back up a little. I actually think we could, once we do it properly, within 6 to 12 months, get a strategic partner who would come in, acquire a significant portion of the shares. You'd want a partner who clearly is already in the energy business and who's also has a strong renewables footprint. And I think that could happen in 6 to 12 months.
Any such companies on your radar yet?
No, not at this time. Simply because it's early days, we haven't had the time to look at that. But that's certainly one of the things we would look at.
So yeah. So did you all realize what he said there? That they're looking to dispose of government shares within 6 to 12 months. We already passed 6. We ain't at 12 yet. So it means before June, the intention of the Deacon Mitchell administration is to sell GRENLEC. Not me saying so. It's he that said so, not me that said so. It is he that said so. So the stated intention of the present Prime Minister of Grenada is that they intend to get rid of government shares, government majority shares in GRENLEC within 6 to 12 months. In fact, let me see if I could reach that particular part for you to hear again.
Once we do it properly, within 6 to 12 months, get a strategic partner who would come in, acquire a significant portion of the shares. You'd want a partner who clearly is already in the energy business and who's also has a strong renewables footprint.
Again, I just want to make sure that you all hear it, because, you know, we don't want them saying that, oh, we're lying on the man. So, yeah. And we'd like to thank WPG 10 for their footage. Yeah, I like to make sure people, you know it. That's it. I call it Shran them thing, That's WPG 10, Carib Update, you know, the whole crew. Right, nice.
Can't have engines failing on us and load shedding and.
No, well then, absolutely. So in that case, if we need to, if you have to buy the bullet, you buy the bullet, which means if you have to recapitalize the company and you have to I don't see it as long term, frankly. Let me just back up a little. I actually think we could, once we do it properly, within 6 to 12 months, get a strategic partner who would come in, acquire a significant portion of the shares. You'd want a partner who clearly is already in the energy business and who's also has a strong renewables footprint. And I think that could happen in 6 to 12 months.
Any such companies on your radar yet?
No, not at this time. Simply because it's early days, we haven't had the time to look at that. But that's certainly one of the things we would look at.
You're right. It's early days, all they didn't have time to look at it. But remember, and look at the moves that have been made. Last week, you had a board member of GRENLEC. And let me see if I could find it here. Yeah, last week, you had a board member of GRENLEC. And let me just put it up for you. I'm not saying, and it's for those of you who can see, let me just put it up. You wouldn't be hearing me, but you would be seeing who the board members are. And tell me who you notice as one of the board members there. Yeah, so there is a particular person there. You saw Miss Andrea St. Bernard. And that is on GRENLEC's website. If you go to GRENLEC's website right now, you do a Google search or a chat GPT or whatever for GRENLEC Grenada Limited. Yeah, you could go to GRENLEC. Just look for GRENLEC. You can go, you find their web page, you check their board of directors, and there, on the bottom level, in the middle, is Miss Andrea St. Bernard. She is a board member of GRENLEC. You heard the Prime Minister himself saying that one of the intentions, he doesn't believe that government could run GRENLEC. So that they have to find a strategic partner, that they're going to basically do what the NDC administration in 1994 did. Get somebody and give them all the shares that government has, or the majority of shares that the government has, to bring them up to the level where they're in control of the company. Yeah? Not sell the shares to Grenadians who have money and say, well, okay, we're going to sell all these shares to Grenadians and Grenadian companies or so, and government will keep the majority still, but we ensure that we bring in a company to manage the affairs of GRENLEC. It still belongs to the Grenadian people, and all the dividends, instead of going Miami in the coffers of WRB or some other company, some other part of the world, that money stays here in Grenada. That the NIS and all the others, they already receive their dividends and so from the GRENLEC. So that instead of that money going to other countries, the money stays here. But understand this. Who was the lawyer of GRENLEC? Who was the lawyer for GRENLEC? So when the judgment in relation to GRENLEC came down, who was the Grenadian lawyer? Who was the litigators from the island of Grenada? Who were the litigators from the island of Grenada? Yeah? Because we have to understand what is taking place here. So, Mitchell and Company were paid $181,826.80 US, now you see, US. This is part of the judgment here. Right? Mitchell and Company stated in the document. If I say it wrong, I say it wrong according to what the document itself is saying. $181,826.80 US. That was paid by you, the Grenadian taxpayer. Yeah. Because you who buy back GRENLEC and pay WRB and so. So this was one, the same individual who is now the minister in charge of GRENLEC was the law firm, a person in charge of the law firm that represented WRB against you, the Grenadian people. And this is how much he was paid, or his company was paid for doing that. $181,826.80. Yeah? Let me convert that and see what we get. Yeah, nearly $500,000 EC. Just a little under $500,000 EC. $491,157.94. Yeah, we could convert and we could convert something inside here. Understand what is taking place with certain people grabbing the Ministry of Works and Public Utilities. Yeah, nearly $500,000. Just a short $500,000. Yeah? And you know who paid it? You and me, we all paid it. Yeah? We all paid it. Right? Because they were representing WRB against Grenada. They were not on the Grenada team defending against a foreign company that was making millions of dollars on a yearly basis off of all of us with the high prices of electricity, you know. They were making their money, their profits, and so they were going with it, and plus they're getting the dividends and so on. On top of that, all of that was going out to Florida. And he represented them. So they can't say we lie. We've been able to show you directly from the document. Let's show you again. That is from the judgment itself. That shows how much the outside Grenadian Council, i.e. Mitchell and Company was paid $181,826.80 US. As said on top, summary of claimants' costs and fees, USD, US dollars. Right? So they can't say we lie. We're able to show exactly what we're talking about, isn't it? We are able to say exactly what it is that happened. And then remember who we showed you a while ago as one of the board members of GRENLEC. We showed you all who was one of the board members of GRENLEC. But let's play something for you. In fact, let me take this call and then I'll play something for you. Hello, good night.
Hey, Sheldon, brother, how you doing?
Hey, I'm quite fine.
Man, good program as usual. You know what I like about your program? You have facts to back up whatever you say.
Yeah, we try to get it. We try to make sure if we're talking, we're not talking madness.
That matters. You're not talking empty talk. You're talking with facts to back it up. But you asked a question earlier on, what did the Dick Mitchell Ministry of Finance achieve? I said zero. Am I right or wrong?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in the same camp as you, brother. I'm in the same camp as you. Because the payment of the pension is not their achievement. It is the new National Party that started the ball rolling on the entire issue. Right? It's the new National Party that decided to have the ball on the pension issue addressed. In fact, a lot of people forget a few years ago there was a payment to a first series of workers, $2 million was paid in pensions to some people that qualified. And if you paid the pensions to these people that were just paid in November before June last year, they would have said you're trying to buy votes.
Right.
If they paid right at the time that you have election, they would have said you're trying to buy votes. Anytime you paid that before, they would have said you're trying to buy votes.
Correct.
So, of course, you know you have the intention to pay it. You make sure that you have the finances in place to pay it, and you're ready yourself to pay it. Well, the new National Party lost, so the NDC paid it. That is not an achievement of them or anything. They just happen to be in the seat.
I mean, they haven't created any project. They haven't done anything in 9 months. Nothing.
No, they've created projects in a wash. Who are sending home? Yeah, that is a program that they create. Wash. Who are sending home? That's the wash program. So right now we have a lot of people that before the Public Service Commission and all sorts of frivolous charges because the Public Service Commission has been weaponized against the average Grenadian worker within the ministries. In fact, I listened to Miss Daisy Hazard on a program with, again, I don't know why it's always Kalistra Faria. I listened to a program with her where she was pointing out several things. In fact, she was saying, if they accept the 13%, the 13% is totally wiped out due to the inflation rate for this year.
Right.
In other words, they ain't really getting nothing.
Nothing. I got you, brother. Just one more thing, though. I listened to the bill today. Who is Senator Franklin? I thought he was very articulate on that bill today.
It's a young man representing the New National Party, and he is from St. George, Northwest.
This guy is so articulate. I mean, he really nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with that young man.
Yes, he was very, very, very spot on. Yeah.
He was spot on. I listened to him. I didn't get everyone who spoke. I listened to the trade union guy. He was all right.
Yeah.
But that Franklin guy, he was really spot on.
Yes, he was.
Called them out, and he make it quite clear the flair that in that bill. I mean, he's really articulate.
And you know, if you listen to the independent senators and the opposition senators, all of them said, hey, we support the need for this bill, but there are sections that are causing problems. We can't support certain sections. And when you hear the government side talking, it kept being, oh, they just don't want to see the bill pass, or they refused to even listen to what was being said on the other side. You know, it was just a case of, all they don't want it pass, all they don't want it pass, all they don't want it pass.
Yes, I listened to a little bit of Rahaman, the Rahaman guy, and the other guys, but the Attorney General is very arrogant.
Yeah, she came across extremely, even worse than normal tonight.
Yes,
yeah, even worse than normal. Well, not tonight, but today. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, my brother, keep calling them out. And I love your program because you show facts.
Of course, my brother.
All right?
All right. Thank you so very much. All right, great. And folks, what I'm going to do now is, remember, we saw certain people on the board of directors of GRENLEC. So you'd ought to take my word for it. You could go to the GRENLEC website right now and check the board of directors. So we see that name, Andrea St. Bernard, as a member of the board of directors. But let's see where else her name pops up.
We have appointed a couple of sectoral ambassadors, highlighting the government's thrust in the area of health. Dr. Trevor Lynn has been appointed as our global health ambassador. We have also appointed Mr. Orlando Romain as special envoy for the creative economy and information communication technology. Mr. Romain will be based in Grenada. And another special envoy, this time for development and investment in the Prime Minister's office, Ms. Andrea St. Bernard, who is an attorney by profession and has considerable experience in the field of investment.
So we realize that one of the names there keep cropping up all over the place. So someone who is sitting on the board of directors of GRENLEC has just been made an special envoy. So in other words, they are a diplomat for the island of Grenada, so they could travel all over the world, all kind of thing with a diplomatic passport, and they can meet potential investors on behalf of the state of Grenada. Yet they are a board member of GRENLEC, and you've heard the Prime Minister's stated intent. Yeah, within 6 to 12 months, 6 to 12 months, to dispose of GRENLEC shares. You've heard him saying that within 6 to 12 months, they are going to dispose of the shares of, in fact, here, check it for yourself.
We could, once we do it properly, within 6 to 12 months, get a strategic partner who would come in, acquire a significant portion of the shares. Let me just back up a little. I actually think we could, once we do it properly, within 6 to 12 months, get a strategic partner who would come in, acquire a significant portion of the shares. You'd want a partner who clearly is already in the energy business and who's also has a strong renewables footprint. We could, once we do it properly, within 6 to 12 months, get a strategic partner who would come in, acquire a significant portion of the shares. You'd want a partner who clearly is already in the energy business and who's also has a strong renewables footprint. And I think that could happen in 6 to 12 months.
Any such companies on your radar yet?
No, not at this time. Simply because it's early days, we haven't had the time to look at that. But that's certainly one of the things we would look at.
So, as I said to you all last night, and I said to you all night before, it is not that somebody has to be corrupt, but the perception of corruption. Yeah? When you hear there's this company that does a corruption perception index, yeah, it's not based on actual corruption that's taking place, it's based on the perception of corruption. And something in this instance does not smell right. It doesn't smell right. Because you have a situation where the Prime Minister, who stated that within 6 to 12 months, he had to get rid of GRENLEC. Within 6 to 12 months, that they had to get rid of GRENLEC. After saying that they had to get rid of GRENLEC within 6 to 12 months, during that period, he take the treasurer of the NDC and place the treasurer of the NDC on the board of GRENLEC. Then, remember he says he's looking for investors to invest in GRENLEC. Then after that, after he makes the same treasurer of the NDC who is on the board of GRENLEC, he makes her a special envoy, and we've seen the diplomatic appointments. I showed you the diplomatic appointments a while ago. After he's done that, you have a situation now, where he himself has taken over the Ministry of Works, Infrastructure, and Public Utilities, inclusive of GRENLEC. The same company, when it was in the hands of WRB, that he was representing on behalf, not of the people of Grenada, but on behalf of a U.S. company based out in Florida. Yeah? That is the situation. These are the things that they don't want you to understand and they don't want you to know. These are the things. We've got a caller online. Hello, good night.
Good night.
Hi, good night.
Good night. Trying to.
Hey, Doc. How you?
Yeah.
Doc, how you doing? You're on, man. You're live. Go right ahead.
Okay. Yes. I just not too long tuned in, and I happened to hear you replaying what the Prime Minister said a few months ago. Now, I myself happen to sit on the board of GRENLEC for a couple of years or so. And so I got a reasonably good feel of what happened at that plant. The suggestion, as you listen to the Prime Minister, was that perhaps we might not be capable of running the company. But I, for one, never sensed that in any way. I found at GRENLEC a group of very competent people. The technical staff, you could tell when they clearly have to be, because the country has been running with a good power in recent decades, literally, with a pretty much guaranteed service and a few outages, etc. And that can only come about if you have a highly trained and competent technical team. Then they have the accounting services. If you was alluding to accounting services at the time, the accountant there is a person for whom I gain much respect from sitting within on that board and another board in terms of visibility. And I am sure people of that type of stature and expertise could be found to run the company. So I really can see no good reason why the company cannot be continued to be run by locals. You just have to find the right fit. If you're going to put mistakes there, or if people get up to wrongdoing, then you can cause the company to collapse. But I think it is quite, and it is high time that we have the confidence as a people to know that we can take on a plant like that and run it. And they talk about capitalization. Well, the engine that was put in there was somewhere in the order of $20 million or so, and the company was able to go ahead and afford to bring that in. And indeed, in fact, perhaps some degree is the feeling, as I listen to people who knew more about the actual energy production, and I know that's not my area, obviously, that more of that should have been done earlier. But I guess the owners thinking that the company might have been taken over, never rushed to do it. But the point is that the capital was there to make a major investment like that at that time. And I'm sure the capital will be there, even if it means that the dividends, etc., have to be cut back to some extent for a short period of time to ensure that the plant maintains at the highest standard. The trust to go and utilize the solar energy, etc., was also there, albeit again, perhaps could have been pushed a bit more. But all in all, GRENLEC was a well-run company, be it at the technical, accounting, personnel level, etc., as far as I could judge. And I'm sure Grenadians and Grenada is quite capable of continuing the management of the company. So I can't buy into that at all. There must be other reasons.
Yes, indeed. And he even gave a timeline, he said within 6 to 12 months. We passed 6 months. We're heading close to 12. So it means that the urgency of now seems to be taking over, because we know they like to rush things.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
urgency
yeah.
of now seems to be taking over when it comes to this issue. For the Prime Minister himself, the former lawyer representing WRB, yeah, is now the minister in charge of GRENLEC.
Yeah, well,
Interesting move.
I think it, as I said last night, I think it would be a tremendous setback for social development in this country and for the general confidence in the country. Come on, this is not the 50s. People have gone to school, people have got their degrees, people have worked in plants all over the world and whatnot, and come back and have had all the experience here. And you said you can't run a company and run it successfully. What did we get independence for 49 years ago? Huh? No, I can't buy into that at all. And especially when I know what it can do to help uplift our people here, rather than have money expatriated.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Doc. All right.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yes, indeed. That's my doc. Yeah, Dr. Braffett. Anybody was trying to call on the overseas line. I'm sorry I had it engaged, so you can call back now. Yes, 440-7377. You can call on WhatsApp on that same number, yes, 440-7377. Or you can call us directly on 440-7377. Or you can call us on the overseas line, 347-329-3101. You can call us on any of those numbers. You know, yeah, I mean, I have been looking at that issue, and while I understand that, yes, Mr. Dennis Cornwall has been set up to take the fall, yeah, it's going to be his responsibility to ensure that those bi-monthly salaries are paid, yeah. And when people get the bi-monthly salary and they see the reality of what is really taking place, it's going to be a different story. We have a call online. Good night.
Hello, good night, Sheldon.
Hey, good night. How are you doing?
Not bad, and you?
I'm quite fine.
Yes, and all the listeners and so on, I want to wish everybody, have a happy Easter.
Yes, yes.
Sheldon, very good program this evening, and thanks for all the information, especially giving us a rundown about the Senate today. A lot of interesting information, and I hope that by Monday again we get much more. And I too will have to do some research, on the senators, on the I want to see the 5 senators that you spoke about today, not the government side, especially the farmers' representative in the Senate and the labor one, and even the business, together with Senator Nealon and Cox, and so I want to go back and do some research on it, because many people are so amazed with that information about monies, to do consultation and so forth, and this thing like it's new, and it's a rush situation, and and as it stands, people are saying, well, we have to call upon the GG to hold back and let us consult and let our Grenadian people, as Sheldon, as you say, we in Grenada and many of the countries in the region take example from us. Look at, when the idea of bringing science and technology to the region, former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Dr. Kit Mitchell, when he introduced that.
Well, it must be remembered, that the digitization of the entire Caribbean, not just the OECS, started here in Grenada.
Yes.
It was Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, along with Gregory Bowen and the New National Party, that took on cable and wireless and broke the monopoly.
Yes.
In the Caribbean region. They broke it here in Grenada and it fell everywhere else. It's Grenada that started it, to the point where I don't know how many people remember that when ECTEL had a ceremony It would have been back in 2010, 2009, 2010, somewhere there. ECTEL had a ceremony, and they invited Dr. Mitchell and Gregory Bowen out of Grenada to award them.
Yeah.
Because had it not been for these two individuals, internet would not be what it is in the Caribbean region right now. People would not have the connectivity that they had at the level that they have now. They would not have had it. It was these two individuals that broke the back of the monopoly of cable and wireless on Grenadians and on the region. And others. That's why Digicel was able to come in. Yeah, at a time you had AT&T was here in Grenada too. Then they were absorbed by Digicel, I believe. You had other entities that came in different islands and so, and they were only able to do that after the monopoly was broken here in Grenada.
Yes.
So things start in Grenada. We don't have to be looking to other countries to say we're taking pattern off of them. No. They're taking pattern off of us.
Of course. And Sheldon, when you really look at the New National Party, you know, the fiscal policies of the New National Party, the economic policies, looking for all in this country, particularly the low-income bracket people, you know. And when you look out there and you see the economic hardship and the social injustices that are taking place, it bleeds my heart, you know, to see what's taking place. But Sheldon, I know, you look at 1990, you look at 2008 to 13, and you look at now. And as you see, I tell my people, be strong. Better days are coming, Sheldon. But let us advocate, let us speak out, and let us work with the brothers and sisters to make a change and bring the New National Party back again one more time.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Thank you so very much, caller. All right. 440. Let me just make sure the right one here. Oops, no, not that. Yeah. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside, and 347-329-3101 for our overseas callers. Or you could call on the WhatsApp to overseas callers 1473-440-7377. Yeah, all the numbers scrolling at the bottom of the screen for those that looking there. And for those on the radio, yeah, we know all you're hearing us and them kind of thing. You understand? Let's take a call off of the WhatsApp. And we have a caller online. Good night. Hello.
Good night.
Hi, good night. How are you? How are you doing?
Fine.
All right.
Okay, how are you?
I'm great.
Yes, well, you look great. I'm watching you.
Yeah, yeah.
Sheldon, I was looking at the Senate thing with the bill today. But honestly speaking, Senator Nolan Cox and the rest of them, they're really fighting up. They're really trying.
Yeah.
They're really fighting. They're fighting. Eh?
Trying to get these people to understand.
Yes. And I listened Claudette saying this bill was the bill implemented due to the National Party that was in 2020, she said. And because of something with the same thing with the bill, that they put the bill on hold and they never bother with it again. So them now want to be the one now to put it into law, implement it. But Sheldon, I watched a video that you shared a few days ago with the same Claudette Joseph. Claudette was saying that they were prepared to fight the bill, even if they had to go to the lawyers and go to court.
I mean, in that case, they were speaking about the COVID bill. They were speaking about the COVID bill at that point in time, but she was making the points that we are making now, that there are things that breach the Constitution in that bill. And what the New National Party did, we pulled back on the bill. The New National Party pulled back on the bill.
So why they so rush? Watch me. Between me and you and the rest of the Grenadians have sense to know. If that bill was enough interest to them, they would have never been fighting so hard to put that bill into law.
Exactly.
This bill is more beneficial to them in the long run, because they want to make sure they protect themselves. So when we vote them out next election, which is just now, they will be protected, where we cannot really bash them or we want to bash them on social media. You understand?
Maybe
they're trying to protect. All the little things they do undercover, they're afraid we find out and expose them.
We still finding out and we still exposing them. Jail me.
Yeah, trying to protect
Still
themselves.
putting it. Jail me.
Rushing. You understand? They think your hands are full. But let me tell them one thing. We're listening and we there. Don't tell me that already. She reach the age to go and register. We don't waiting for till the crowd build up. Register now. And we're waiting for to go and vote them out. Voting them out just now. Just now they can't take more pressure. They can't look like people following the bait already.
Not you alone. Remember, me and my neighbor. You have to carry others with you. You're not doing this. You can't do it alone.
Friends and my children, everybody I know we going. Only. And for them all, they can't stay there and make people trouble so. So what they feel stupid? I know I want to make them clarity and them feel like they hide more than everybody else. I'm trying to see you could think that bill will do nothing to you. No, not harm will come to you. They saying that now. And when they implement now and people start to go through things, they want to say, well, they're sorry and this. They want we have to know what's going on now. We want to know.
Senator Cox told them.
I like to say what's going on and I come to my house and take away my thing from me and go with it. Take my phone, take my thing and them and say, well, I exposing thing. They're pressuring people off from every angle. They're too wicked. I watch them today. I'm getting angry inside here.
Don't let your blood pressure go up, though. Don't let the blood pressure go up.
Yes, I don't have a problem with it already. But I want to tell Senator Cox and them, I'm thanking you guys so much for all your effort you're making. I see all your fighting. If we don't get through, don't worry. We time coming back soon. Don't worry. To be NMP people, hold strength. Don't give up. If you have children that have the age to register for voting, make sure they register. And make sure when the time come, they go and put their X. We'll get rid of them, man.
All right.
Time coming, time don't fly fast.
We're making sure. All right. Thank you very much, my dear.
Yeah, making sure. Yeah, good night.
All right. Let me see if I could get this other call. Let me see if it's coming through. Yes, good night, caller. Go right ahead.
Good night, Brother Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Yeah, Brother Sheldon, I was listening to the debate this morning in the Senate.
Yes.
And the senator responsible for agriculture, he said that money was put aside in that bill for consultation. A question, where are these money for the consultation? If there's money put aside there, why was not the consultation taking place to inform the people of Great Caribbean Diplomatic about the bill? And when I listen, what the government system was saying, like if the opposition we're against the bill, but you do think the right way, you consult the people. And I always say, when you consult people and they agree to something, it is difficult for them to go and oppose it because the input in it. When you do it, you don't consult them, right? And they don't have no knowledge of that bill. Who to blame for that? You are to blame because information is key. So more information you give out to people is better. Alright, so that's my opinion.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. Yes, indeed. 4407377. That's the number for you to get on the inside. But you know what? While I was listening to something today, I heard the Prime Minister making a statement during that same interview. And I want to play it for you. It's very short. It's not that long. It's sort of short. And I want you all to hear it because I want you all to be able to understand something. Now, the Prime Minister was saying that we have enough capacity here. We don't have to bring in anybody to fix the pub. In fact, here's the Prime Minister in his own words.
So we recognize that this has to be addressed. At my meeting with the senior managers of the public service, I made that clear that we will have to tackle this issue. There's no point in pretending. We may not be able to solve all of it, but we certainly can solve some of it. And I also indicated that the ability to solve some of it depends exclusively on us, on those of us who are leading, those of us who are managing. We know what the challenges are in our departments. We know what the staffing issues are. We know what the complaints are, and it's for us to come up with the solutions. I made it clear we are not going to be hiring any foreign consultant to tell us how to fix our public service. We work here, we live here, we know the jobs we need to do, and I expect therefore for the solutions to come from the bottom up. So I think that has to be addressed because I think it affects productivity.
Now, so we've heard the Prime Minister there saying basically they won't hire any foreign people to come and tell them how to fix their public service. Yeah? So you won't bring in anybody in to say, well, okay, that you need help. Like, for instance, how you had Ernst and Young were here before and they come and they do assessment at the Royal Grenada Police Force. The same Ernst and Young that they could not find the report to give to the police. Well, I hear finally the Ernst and Young report reach, so the police and them get it. Yeah, but we'll talk about that one in a little while. We have a little while, but we'll talk about that one in a little while. But yeah, so yeah, they ain't bringing no foreigners in to tell us how to fix any government ministry. Remember, he just said that there. He just said, and I'll let you hear it for yourself. He said, we have the capacity here. We don't need to bring in anybody to tell us how to fix whatever problems we have within the government ministries, and so we don't need to bring anybody, you know.
So we recognize that this has to be addressed. At my meeting with the senior managers of the public service, I made that clear that we will have to tackle this issue. There's no point in pretending. We may not be able to solve all of it, but we certainly can solve some of it. And I also indicated that the ability to solve some of it depends exclusively on us, on those of us who are leading, those of us who are managing. We know what the challenges are in our departments. We know what the staffing issues are. We know what the complaints are, and it's for us to come up with the solutions. I made it clear we are not going to be hiring any foreign consultant to tell us how to fix our public service. We work here, we live here, we know the jobs we need to do, and I expect therefore for the solutions to come from the bottom up. So I think that has to be addressed because I think it affects productivity.
So folks, it's the same man who was speaking there that bringing Ernst and Young. Now we know how much Ernst and Young charge, but it doesn't charge no small money. Eh? But then you're paying them, you had to pay them a piece of money. So they brought in the foreign company because Ernst and Young is not a local company. They're not the same man that just say him bringing in no foreign company. Look, he sit down there with them. Yeah, that's two of them is in the top of the head there and thing, right? He sit down next to he envoy for I think it's IT and all kind of thing here. He sit down next to him. So Ernst and Young, they find them. Yeah. They find Ernst and Young because they bring them now to help them restructure GIS. So the same thing he was saying just a few months ago that he ain't doing is the same thing he come and do. No, don't take my word for it. Hear what he say there. Yeah, take a few minutes today. Yeah, hear what he saying there, man. Oops, no, not that one, boy. Not that one, not that one.
St. George's Northwest is in the house.
At my meeting with the senior managers of the public service, I made that clear that we will have to tackle this issue. There's no point in pretending. We may not be able to solve all of it, but we certainly can solve some of it. And I also indicated that the ability to solve some of it depends exclusively on us, on those of us who are leading, those of us who are managing. We know what the challenges are in our departments. We know what the staffing issues are. We know what the complaints are, and it's for us to come up with the solutions. I made it clear we are not going to be hiring any foreign consultant to tell us how to fix our public service. We know what the complaints are, and it's for us to come up with the solutions. I made it clear we are not going to be hiring any foreign consultant to tell us how to fix our public service. The challenges are in our departments. We know what the staffing issues are. We know what the complaints are, and it's for us to come up with the solutions. I made it clear we are not going to be hiring any foreign consultant to tell us how to fix our public service. We know what the complaints are, and it's for us to come up with the solutions. I made it clear we are not going to be hiring any foreign consultant to tell us how to fix our public service. We work here, we live here, we know the jobs we need to do, and I expect therefore for the solutions to come from the bottom up. So I think that has to be addressed because I think it affects productivity.
Maybe I have it wrong. Maybe Ernst & Young is a local company. But I checked their website and they ain't based in Grenada. They don't even have a sub-office here. So it means that they had to hire these people to come over to help them to restructure the Government Information Service of Grenada. A foreign consultant, Ernst & Young, the same people and them with the police thing that they say they can't they can't find. Yeah, look, Ernst & Young, they here right now. Oh my goodness, yes. The same people that said we ain't hiring no foreign consultants. You see them sit down with the foreign consultants consulting on how to fix the same problems that they say exist that they know how to fix. Yeah, so they ain't hiring no foreign consultant. Yeah, you just see And folks, let me tell you all something that's taking place quickly. The police officers are being corralled. They are being pushed to accept the same payment package that the teachers have accepted. In fact, there's a message that came out by one of the men that just get ACP, and it ain't Connaught, that said, my advice will be to accept the 13% and go hard on the pay and grade. Should we succeed there, and based on the package offered, we may not need to consider fringe benefits at all. I tell her, that may be the one who was under investigation. Yeah. So it says, his advice. Remember, he just got promoted to Assistant Commissioner of Police. And his advice is that they should go hard on the pay and grade. Ernst and Young, because that looked like police officers could get some good money, some good increases with the pay and grade. But right? So that I'm telling them, don't bother with the fringe benefits, man. Additional money, don't bother with the fringe benefits. Right? Focus on the pay and grade. The same pay and grade that they say they're going to pay, and then afterwards the Ernst & Young report disappear. They find Ernst & Young to bring them now, so they suddenly find the report. Like Ernst & Young maybe had to come and fly the report over from England to here. Yeah, they probably had to take a plane with the report and fly to Grenada to hand it over to them. Yeah, because right now, they probably don't have email in the government service. Yeah, WhatsApp ain't working, email ain't working, and them kind of thing. Yeah. And I know they maybe get rid of all fax machines. So them people that still use fax machine, I see some companies still have fax line listed, Lord. But that is the kind of thing. Yeah, I know it's 10 o'clock. That is the kind of thing that we have taking place when it comes to people who are trying to manipulate workers in different segments to fall in line with the government's objectives. Yeah? Not even the government's objectives, but the NDC objectives. So you see, Jude, yeah, Judas Jude. Today's Thursday. Well, I want to hear. Let me see if we could hear Judas Jude. I think I have something from Judas Jude there. Yeah, let me see if I could play a piece of Judas Jude for all you, man. Yeah, let me play something that he had. Like, let me see. I'm going to pull that dog there. Let me see if I could play that there. Nice, yeah. So let me play a piece of Judas Jude for you all, man.
Now that I've showered some praise upon the National Executive, permit me to talk a bit about my presidency. Think back. Just before I became President General of the GUT in 2020, we had salary negotiations. Both Brother Lyden Lewis and Brother Marvin Andal led the process, and they did a good job in the process. Give them a round of applause. Show some appreciation. When I took over the presidency, it was a difficult time due to COVID-19 pandemic and the NNP administration. We had to go through the process of mediation, but I was never afraid. I led from the front, was never daunted, intimidated, humiliated, but I never wavered. I never gave up. I never disappoint you. I was straightforward with you. A president that you can trust, someone who is always fighting on your behalf. I am always above board in everything for you. When teachers were losing hope in their union and duty was losing credibility and respect, I stood firmly and restored it for you. From 12% salary struggle during COVID-19 under the NNP, pension struggle, dark salary struggle, TAMCC struggle, COVID-19 struggle, Mayday struggle, salary negotiations, restoration of TAMCC, and salary increase. Teachers' scholars restoration to full-time, regularization and upgrades, although I want the minister to listen because regularization and upgrades, we're in there as yet, and we want to get there soon. So minister, we want to go places. I serve you with distinction, and at the end of the NNP era, when we are now reaping and enjoying the fruits of our labor, a few tried to see if they could have gotten rid of me for this election. It was well-timed and well-orchestrated for this year's duty election, but it did not work. I take comfort from Samuel chapter 16. When Samuel went to Jesse to choose a king, Samuel wanted to choose appearance, but God said to Jesse, look at the heart. Thank you, teachers, for saving the day. Jehovah will always have the final say.
So you understand what they say there? Yeah, the heart. They're telling you straight what they're supporting. He used that script. You wouldn't use the one that says the heart is deceitfully. Yeah, you ain't gonna use that part. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Yeah. But he telling you now. He giving you, let me see, yes, he giving you talk about the NNP administration. It's not the NNP that in office right now, you know. It's not the NNP that in office right now. It's the NDC. So here all the fight, he claim he fight under the NNP and all kind of thing. And right now he gone silent. Because he telling them about the heart. And we all know which symbol, which political party carries the symbol of the heart. So Judas Jude just saying, I mean, if he want to accept 13% with inflation a little around 17% or more, that's up to him because the inflation, in other words, the cost, the rising cost of utilities and the rising cost of foodstuff, etc., and possibly transportation is going to wipe out the 13% that they've accepted. So if he wants to accept it, all well and good. Yeah? And then you have the police now being told, the two men who become ACP. So one telling them, hey, go hard on the pay and grade and forget the fringe benefits. So in other words, go hard behind one set of money and forget the next set of money. But he get ACP already, you know, he good. Them little constable and them that outside right now marking line in the road for traffic accidents and them kind of thing. They ain't reach where he reach yet. He said he's assistant commissioner of police. And then the other one who just get the position of assistant commissioner of police, he on the negotiating team. And all of them, you know what they're trying to do? Corner the PWU. You understand? Corner the PWU. So the teachers go out on their own and they do the thing. To hell was everybody else. Right? And then trying to force the public workers. But let me see. We go see. We all will see the mettle of the public workers union. We go know if they only have mettle when the new national parties in office or if they always have mettle. Because we realize that is definitely not the case with the GUT. We realize they only bad in the yard when is NNP in the house. You understand? Yeah. And we realize that it have some men that trying to gauge the Royal Grenada Police Force and them to get them to accept. Take the 13%, boy. Take it. Take it. You understand? Take it. And let me go after the pay and grade. Forget them fringe benefits and them. Take the 13%. Take the pay and grade. And forget your fringe benefits and them kind of thing. But what do you think happened? Because I hear certain officers was in plain clothes up in the NDC convention. Folks, that's all the time we have for tonight. I ain't call name, no warrant. That's all the time we have tonight for Talking Points. And this week we'll be back Monday night, God's willing, with you. In everything you say, everything you do, do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. If you're drinking, don't drive. If you're driving, don't drink. Same when you're swimming. If you're swimming, yeah, that you're in water already. Try to do, yeah, you understand? Don't drink the alcohol. Don't go and eat a set of pile of food. You want to go and eat a 2 bowly oil long and then go and swim. No, you'll catch cramp. You'll put yourself in trouble that you might not be able to come out from and other people as well. All right? And those of you driving on the nation's road, please do so carefully. Yeah, oh gosh, man. People want to reach home to meet their family. You know, sometimes they just walk out to do something. And that kind of nonsense that some people getting on with, yeah, does end up causing all sorts of problems. My name is Sheldon Scott. It's been wonderful being here with you. And of course, I'm just making sure I get my thing here. You understand? Yeah, just making sure I get my last thing here to put up. My name is Sheldon Scott, and everything you say and do, do it good. All right? We love you, and we will be back next week, God's willing, with more talking points on Monday night. All right? I am out.
The NDC administration failed in the first term, and they're begging for another one. Sing for them. Sing for them. They're going in the wrong way. Mash up NDC. They're going in the wrong way. Cannot run this country. They're going in the wrong way. The leader don't listen. They're going in the wrong way. So they divided it. They lie for the people. So many things they promise they go do. They say $700 not enough money. They go give 1,000 to them money. Soon as they get in for war, the money program over. They go in the wrong way. Want some NDC. They go in the wrong way. Cannot run this country. They go in the wrong way. They say the leader don't listen. They go in the wrong way. So they divide it into. And here they say that they love the culture. The worst carnival we had in Grenada. 4 years now and things then getting better. And they keep pointing finger at one another. Carnival come and carnival go. Problems to pay price money, you know. They go in the wrong way. Mash up NDC.